readers, welcome to Novels with Nat. Today, I want to talk about all of these series that I am in the middle of reading and if I'm going to continue them, yes, no, or maybe. So I want to start off by saying that I am definitely not a series reader. I don't read very many series at all. I feel like a lot of the series are fantasy books, and I don't really read very much fantasy. I typically stick to mysteries and thrillers, and they're not very common to be series, but there are some. And I've got a few other genres as well. I have quite a few books to get through. I was a bit surprised actually. I have more over there as well. I am also going to include duologies, I guess is the word, like books where there's two. I have quite a few of those. I feel like a lot of times thrillers will have one book, then they'll come out with like a sequel that's kind of feels a bit like a cash grab. So I've got some of those to talk about as well. So let's get to it. Okay, so let's first talk about the books that I plan on continuing in the series. These are the ones that I 100% am going to finish the series. The first one is one that I read for the first time earlier this year, and that is actually The Hunger Games. If you can believe that I have never actually read it prior to this year, and I definitely will be continuing. I have only read the first one so far, so I still have, I think there's like what, 4 more left in the series to go. To be honest, I'm kind of feeling like I want to put this one off a bit until the fall. It just gives me like fall vibes, so I probably won't read this one probably for like 2 more months maybe. But I definitely am going to be continuing. Okay, this next one is a bit of a nostalgic read for me. When I was a kid, one of my favorite books or series was the series of Unfortunate Events. And when I was younger, I think I read, well, first, this series is like 13 books. And I think I had read about half of them. And then I started as an adult trying to reread them. And so I've read 1 through, I think, 8. And so I am continuing on in the series. I don't read them very often, but every once in a while, when I just need a quick read, I just pick it up. And I've got, I think, 9 through 13 left, and I definitely will continue. I think this series is so good. The more that I think about it, I'm like, wow, this series is pretty dark for a children's book or a children's series. But I'm really enjoying it. I've also been, as I read the books, I'll watch the corresponding episodes on the Netflix adaptation, which has been fun. So yeah, definitely going to continue. Love this series. This next one is a book that recently came out with a second book, and that is The Woman in Cabin 10 by Ruth Ware. I read this book years ago. It's pretty old. It was fine. I gave it 3 stars. I think literally just like a week ago, the sequel has come out. It's called The Woman in Suite 11, if I'm not mistaken. I don't have a copy yet. I'm on hold at the library, but I do plan on reading it. The synopsis sounded pretty interesting. I think if I read the synopsis and it sounded boring, I probably would skip it, but because it sounded interesting and I've read the first one, I feel like I'll just read it and see how it goes. I do like Ruth Ware. She can be hit or miss for me, but I'm going to give it a shot. Okay, this next one is called The Plot. This book I read about a year and a half ago and I really enjoyed it. It's got like the trope that I really love, which is like a book about books or a book about authors. And I had a really good time. And then I found out that they were releasing a sequel, which is called The Sequel. And crazy enough, I ended up winning this one on a Goodreads giveaway, an ARC copy, but I never got around to it before it was released. I think it came out in October 2024, and I still have not read it. So I really want to get to this one. It's just a matter of making the time for it, but I'm excited to get to it. All right, this next one is not necessarily a series. They're interconnected standalones, but I thought I would include it because I do plan on reading all of the books, and that is called the Dark Future series by John Marrs. The first book that I read was actually this one. It is The Passengers. Now, these books are all like speculative fiction, light sci-fi, kind of futuristic novels. And they're all kind of slightly dystopian, I guess you could say. And I have really enjoyed all of the 3 that I've read so far. There are 5 in total, so I have 2 more to go. So I have read The Passengers. I gave this 5 stars. And then I read The One. This one is like 5 stars, actually 6 stars. I love this book. It is my favorite John Marrs book. definitely would recommend this one. And then I recently finished The Family Experiment. This one I didn't love as much. I gave this one 4 stars, but it was still enjoyable, still had a good time. And then the two that I have left to read are The Marriage Act, which I have out from my library, excited to read it this month, as well as The Minders. I'll put a picture up. These are the only two that I have left in this sort of world. They all take place in the same world, and I'm very excited to read them. I hope he continues publishing under this sort of series, standalone series. I really enjoy them. I feel like John Mars kind of publishes books in this realm, but he also publishes your standard psychological thrillers. And I really prefer his speculative fiction over his psychological thrillers, which have been a lot more hit or miss for me. So yeah, excited to finish this series. And next we have a cozy mystery series. This one is one of my favorite main characters in a book series, and that is the Molly the Maid series. So this is the first book. I read it and I fell in love with Molly. She's such a great character. And then after that, I did read the second book, which is The Mystery Guest. I gave the first one 5 stars. I gave this one 4 stars. And then after that was a little Christmas novella. This one I gave 3 stars. It was fine. Novellas don't typically get more than a 3 star from me, but it was still good. It was all right. And so the final book that I have to read for this series is the one that just came out, and that is The Maid's Secret. I believe it was said that this is like the conclusion, that there won't be any more books after this. So I think this will be the final book. It should be really good. I hope it ties everything up really nicely. So yeah, I just have one more book in this series, and I also really love how these books look on the shelf with like the color blocking. They just look, I think, really pretty on the shelf. I'm not holding them in the correct order, but you get the idea. All right, this next one, I was debating if I was going to continue. I will say that I did not really enjoy the first book, and that is The Perfect Marriage by Geneva Rose. I can understand why people enjoyed it. It does have that kind of Frida McFadden, big twist kind of energy to the book. I just don't feel like it made much sense. I feel like the twist was poorly executed, and it wasn't my favorite. That being said, the next book came out, and it is called The Perfect Divorce. I did take it out from my library. Um, I wasn't planning on reading it, but it is pretty short. It does have these sprayed edges, which I thought was pretty cool. So I think I will give it a shot. But that being said, I will be quick to DNF it if I can sense that I'm not going to enjoy it. If I'm just going to push through and give it 2 stars, then I probably will DNF it, but I will give it a shot. So that's the end of all of the series that I plan on continuing for sure. Now let's get into the few that are sort of maybes for me, more up in the air, that I don't plan on prioritizing anytime soon, but if I get the urge or if I come across it at a thrift store or something, I might pick it up and read the next book in the series. All right, so the first one I don't have a copy of. It was called Take It Back by Kia Abdullah. This is, I believe, part of the Zara Khalil series, I think is what it's called. It's following this woman. I believe she's a lawyer. I think I read it a long time ago. But the first book I gave, I think, 3 stars. It was not my favorite by Kia Abdullah. I definitely preferred Next of Kin. So this one I didn't necessarily plan on continuing. I might in the future, but no immediate plans. All right, this next one that I'm on the fence about was very popular a few years ago, and it is We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. This is like a young adult thriller. I feel like it is really beloved. It was like really popular on Book Talk, but I just thought it was okay. I gave it 3 stars, and so I actually found the sequel in a Dollar Tree for like $1.25. So I did end up picking it up, but I just don't know if I loved the first one enough to read this one. I don't know. Let me know in the comments if you've read it and if it's worth it. But I'm on the fence about it. So for right now, it's just kind of sitting on my physical TBR pile of shame that I need to get around to, but maybe at some point. All right, the last book that I am on the fence about continuing is a very popular one, and that is Fourth Wing. This one I read earlier this year, and don't get me wrong, it was fine. I gave it 3.5 stars. I'm just not a fantasy person. I'm especially not like young adult or new adult reader. I just don't gravitate to those kind of stories. I'm definitely not a romance reader. So this kind of has a lot of things against it in terms of my personal taste. But I still thought it was fine. I just don't know if it was good enough for me to read however many more. I think there's going to be 5 in the series. Don't quote me, I'm not sure. Especially when the books are pretty long. Um, so yeah, this one I ended up crazy enough finding in a free little library. So I was happy to find it and give it a shot. But I don't think I would go out of my way to purchase any others in this series. Um, if anything, I would get it from my library, give Iron Flame a shot, and if I'm just not loving it, I probably won't continue in the series. But yeah, sorry to offend. I know this is a lot of people's favorite book. Okay, now I want to talk about the series or duologies that I've started that I 100% will not be continuing with. I just did not like them enough at all to read anymore. I have no interest. Okay, the first one, I don't have a physical copy. It is The Night Swim. This one is called, I think, the Rachel Crawl series, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. This book I really hated. I found it to be so slow. The premise was intriguing. I just also really did not like this author's writing style. What I found was that the way that this author writes is almost like she's describing every single little detail that should be fairly obvious to the reader, and it just feels like she's like over explaining, and I just found it really to drag the story down, and I felt like the way that she writes kind of makes you as the reader feel like she thinks you're stupid and she has to explain everything over and over and over explain it all again. And I just didn't like it. I don't plan on reading the second book, which I think, what was it called? I cannot remember what the second book is even called. I'll put a picture up. This is what it is. Not going to read it. All right, this next one I also don't have a copy, and it's actually, I think it's a Japanese novel or series. I read the translation, of course, and that is the Decagon House Murders. It's a part of a series called The House Murders, I believe. Um, I don't know the names of the other ones. I think there's quite a few of them. Um, this first book, I can appreciate the story. It kind of reads sort of like an Agatha Christie type novel. I just found it boring, to be honest. It just wasn't my style. It was kind of like I feel like an older style of writing, like an older style mystery, and it's just not my preference. Um, I didn't really enjoy it, so I'm probably not going to continue, or I definitely won't continue reading this one. But yeah, I like reading every once in a while a translated novel. I think it's fun to read books from other parts of the world. So I'm glad that I read it, but I probably won't continue. All right, this next book I also hated, and it is called Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone. This is part of like the Ernest Cunningham series. I think there's Everyone on This Train is a Suspect. I think there's also like a Christmas novella, I believe. Um, this first book, I just feel like it was so convoluted. There was so many characters, so many backstories and details and connections. It was just way too much. Like I feel like you literally would need to have like taken extensive notes to keep things straight. I don't know if it was just me that felt that way, but it was just for me too much. I just didn't enjoy it. Um, I will say some people said that they didn't like the book because of the narration. It's the type of book where the narrator is sort of telling you a story or like breaking the fourth wall type of thing, which I didn't mind. That wasn't the reason I didn't like it. Um, I do like that element, but I just didn't like the mystery and the story of this book. A book that was written in a similar style that I really enjoyed a lot more than this one is The Fury by Alex Michaelides. That one I feel like was done really well and I really enjoyed it. This one, not so much. Okay, 2 more series that I do not plan on continuing. The first one is by Lisa Jewell, and it is The Family Upstairs. This book, unfortunately, is my least favorite Lisa Jewell. I really did not like it. I found it slow. I found it overcomplicated. I just had no interest in the characters and the story. And so I did have the second book. I think it's called The Family Remains. Um, but after I finished this book and gave it 2 stars, I just have no interest in continuing with the second one. And I don't think I'm the only one. I know a few people who have read this one and have said, like, yeah, we're unhauling the second book. It's just not, it's really Lisa Jewell's weakest, in my opinion. Um, and it's a shame because I love the cover. It is gorgeous. So I have unhauled the second book. I probably will unhaul this one as well. All right, this last book is part of the Henry Kimball Lily Kintner series by Peter Swanson, and this one is The Kind Worth Killing. This is the first book. There are three. So there was this book, and then the sequel was The Kind Worth Saving. This one I did read. The first book I gave 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. It was really fun, really well plotted. It was unique, it was different. Then I read the sequel, and it was not the same as the first. It was boring. It was disengaged. I was disengaged. I just did not like it. I gave it 2 stars. And then last year, Peter Swanson released this book in the series, A Talent for Murder. I'm a bit confused, to be honest, how this is related, because the first one is The Kind Worth Killing, then The Kind Worth Saving, and this one obviously has a different title. But on Goodreads, it is listed under the same series. I think it just has the same characters in it. I have no intention of reading this. I feel like the second one was so bad, I didn't like it at all, so I don't have very high hopes for this one. I also feel like Peter Swanson just isn't an author for me. Um, his style of writing just tends to not be for me. I think the first book, The Kind Worth Killing, was just an anomaly. I really liked this one, but I haven't really liked anything that I've read from him since. So yeah, I'm not going to continue with this one. All right, so those are all of the series or duologies that I currently have started and whether I plan on continuing them or not. Let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree with me on any of these. If there are any ones that I said that I'm not going to continue that you think I definitely should, I would love to know. Like if the second book or the third book gets a lot better or is super intriguing, I definitely would consider picking it up. So let me know in the comments. Also, let me know what are some of your series that you started that you either plan on continuing for sure or that you're on the fence about. I would love to know as well. I think a goal of mine for the rest of this year is to focus on the series that I have decided that I 100% want to continue and really try to wrap them up. Because I have other series on my TBR that I would like to get to, but I kind of tend to push them off because I'm like, okay, you can't start another series. You have enough to go. You have enough characters to keep straight in your mind. So yeah, I really want to focus on reading all of these and so I can move on to new ones. So I think that's it for today's video. Don't forget to subscribe, like this video, comment, all of that fun YouTube stuff. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in another video very soon. Bye.